because you're always going to go through a transition. Life's always going to change. So build up your core tenets to go through that change as smoothly and as confidently. I'll let it say humble confidence is what I'm trying to teach. Confidence without humility is just ego, and nobody likes personal ego.
Hey everybody, welcome to Sound Bombing. I created this show for people who want to experience a radical, life-changing journey through the sounds of my diverse guests. I hope that each sound you hear on this show will strengthen your faith, encourage your dreams, and challenge you to awaken the greatness within you.
Drop the bomb. Drop the bomb. We're gonna drop the bomb. Drop the bomb. We're gonna drop the bomb. Drop the bomb. We come to drop the bomb. Drop the bomb. With the bomb.
This is a journey into sound. A journey which along the way will bring to you new color, new dimension, new values, and a new experience.
Ladies and gentlemen, the star of the show, LaMarr, Darnell Shields.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whatever the time of the day it is, you're at the right place at the right time with the right person. Welcome to my show. I'm your host, Dr. LaMarr Darnell Shields, in the building. Yes, I'm in the building. I'm the creator of Sound Bombing, and my goal with this show is to introduce you to people with the ideas that will help you unlock your full potential, not your half potential, but your full potential. And this show is so important because with all that has been going on over the past year or so, many of us have been falling down in so many areas of our life, personal, professional, spiritual, as well as our business life. When you fall, the question is, do you get right back up? When you fall, do you learn from it? Or when you fail, do you learn from it? Or when you fail, do you get right back up and take it as an opportunity to grow? Where many of us, including myself, struggled at times with learning from failures. You know, some people say failure is not an option. I said, no, it's not an option. It's not learning from the failures. But we sometimes give up as soon as we fail or fall, not realizing what is necessary to push a bit harder until we reach a breakthrough. My good friend and mentor said to me, if you fall down on your back, as long as you can look up, you can get up. And that is the great speaker, Les Brown, taught me that a long time ago. And my next guest knows about falling, failing, and getting back up. He was born with a facial birth defect. He battled a speech impediment and bullying through his young career at a young age, but he was able to conquer one of life's hardest challenges. A former Hollywood stuntman. Yes, a former Hollywood stuntman was appeared in many of your favorites, Marvel Cinematic Universe films, including Spiderman, Far From Home, Avengers, Endgame, Black Panther, Captain America, Civil War, The Dark Knight Rises, Salt, and Sons of Anarchy. But his new book, Falling Down to Find Myself, How a Hollywood Stuntman Conquered Life's Bumps and Bruises to Cultivate a Philosophy for True Happiness. In it, he offers a rarefied glimpse into his personal life as an individual and also as a performer and how he overcame personal hardships. He shares not only exciting details from behind the scenes on some of the biggest movie sets in recent memory, but he also is going to share some of his intimate stories about some of the personal challenges that he's overcome. Who am I talking about? My friend, I welcome to Sound Bombing. Kevin Cassidy is in the building. Brother Kevin, how are you, man?
I'm doing good, Dr. Shields, man. Thanks for having me.
Kevin, first of all, we got to do it. We got to do a quick check-in. Let our listeners know where you're calling in from, and we also like to do a wellness check. Let our listeners know how you are doing.
I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. Been here about 2 years now. I was in Atlanta before that, and LA before that, and I've been all around the block. I was in Baltimore and New York, and I've been everywhere. But doing great. It's November, and it's 75 right now, so we're getting that little head fake of warm weather before the cold hits us down here in North Carolina. But yeah, doing great, man. Can't complain.
Well, I'm sharing in that great weather as well. We're going to talk about our connection shortly. We got a connection, Kevin. Going to be blown away when I talk about that connection, man. But I introduce you with fanfare, not only just about your book, but about all the things that you've done. And I know my listeners want to know. I'm going to go straight to it, man. Kevin, how did you get into the stunt business, man?
Oh man, lucky, unlucky, lack of options, too many options. I don't know. I was living in Baltimore, Maryland. I was a school teacher, and I used to be an athlete. I played minor league baseball, and there's a sport that was on TV called slam ball. It's like full contact basketball with trampolines, and we used to watch that at night. It was a fun sport, and they had a tryout for that. And a buddy of mine from Philly, who I was living with in Baltimore at the time, we were teachers together. He said, "Let's go to Philly, go to this tryout." And, we went kind of as a goof, and I messed around and made it. And they shipped me off to LA and had another tryout, and kept making every cut and got drafted, and find myself living in a hotel in Encino, LA, playing this sport called slam ball. And it was like Kobe Bryant's dad was one of our coaches. Shaq was the commentator. Pat Croce, who owned the 76ers, was one of the owners of it. It was kind of a big deal. We didn't make any money, but it could have gotten big. Did that. Some guys I met in that were involved in Hollywood and stunts and sports movies. And, one thing led to another, friendships and networking and options, and world kind of opens up, take another shot. And before you know it, I'm doing stunts and big movies.
Well, we're going to come back to that because you've already shared our connection, brother. I currently live in Baltimore, and I was a school teacher, man. So now you got to let me know, where were you teaching?
I was at West Baltimore Middle.
Man, you were at Rockland. What?
And then before that, I was down in PG County in Hyattsville Middle School.
Man, when I read that information in your book, in the opening of the book, you talked about the journey that landed me from this movie set was a long and arduous one, even before the trial, before I moved to LA and I began my teaching career in Baltimore. I said, man, this brother and I have some roots, man. Not only is this, I'm from Chicago, but this is my new residence. And I moved here in the mid 90s to become a teacher, elementary, high school, taught at City College High School. And what's interesting, Kevin, all this week, man, I just have my engineer take all of my videos from my classroom teaching. All week, Kevin, I've been posting them on social media, and you should see my students. Mr. Shields, what is going on? Where did you find this footage from? These memories, man. I was watching this stuff, man. I was literally in tears from laughing, but emotional, man. It's nothing like being a teacher. One thing I just told my son about us, Kevin, as teachers, we can do anything. And you're a prime example of that, teaching here in a very, very rough city. City is not easy. But again, it's some beautiful parts of it here, going on to Philly, to my other favorite city. I love Philadelphia. And then you transition. So there's some teachers right now that's like, they said, first of all, Kevin is a stuntman. I've been a stuntman since I've been teaching first grade, fourth grade, eighth. When you're a teacher, Kevin, you probably taking some harder hits in the classroom than you have jumping through a burning building on some of the sets, man.
The devil didn't see him coming for sure in the classroom. In the movie set, we know what we're going to do. We're just lined up. In the classroom, you get kind of blindsided sometimes.
So I was excited, man, when I read. So you could tell I read the book, man. I was excited. Again, to interview a stuntman, but then find out that you have your roots here in Charm City, as they call it, and started as a teacher, man. And I was, like I said, I was just sharing with my son the great things about that. So it's interesting when I was reading the book, and you were in the film The Longest Yard, and I see you in a picture with one of my guys from the Midwest. I'm from Chicago. He is from St. Louis, and you're sitting there posing with Nelly, the great hip hop artist Nelly, and then also Burt Reynolds and all these other people that were in there, man. So talk about that experience on that film set. I mean, it's famous film, classic film. Some of everybody was in that film, and I love the photos that you have in the book.
Yeah, I was kind of spoiled. That was the first movie I ever did. I had to go to another tryout and do a combine kind of NFL, to get onto that. Got really lucky to get through that. And man, I was spoiled. Anything Adam Sandler runs, just people are nice, no egos. The director was cool. And we had to go to the training camp with all the actors were ex-athletes. Even Sandler's a great athlete, loves basketball. Terry Crews played football. Obviously Goldberg, Nelly's a great athlete, played baseball at a high level. Michael Irvin, obviously, and all these guys they come from athletic backgrounds. So none of them were the stereotypical kind of Hollywood actor, diva kind of people. They were just, doing a fun comedy, athletic movie. So we were in training camp together, just next to each other, learning the plays, working out, running routes, all that stuff together for months before we started filming. So the separation of the cast and the crew and the stunt guys was really non-existent. And we would have dinner together, got to know all these people, and really got to got spoiled by that. That was my first movie. I'm like, oh, every movie's like this. No, it's not. Yeah, man, it was a great time. We were out in Santa Fe, New Mexico for about 2 or 3 months, then back to LA for the last 2 months, and met some great people. Started my networking of how, okay, this is my first movie. I kind of fell into it. Is this a career? Just kind of a one-off? Am I going to do this and then go back to teaching? And had so much fun, made some money, met some great people. You know what? I'm going to stay out here and give this a shot, see how long this lasts. And end of the day, when this wave is, died down, I'll go back in Baltimore or wherever and keep teaching and mentoring and coaching and stuff. And 18 years later, I'm looking for an escape out of it.
Well, how does one prepare for a role like The Longest Yard, or just any role that you have as a stunt man and, stunt women in the business? Walk us through what that training process is mentally and physically.
Well, everyone gets started differently. I was a good athlete. I played football and baseball, and so football was up my wheelhouse. I knew how to do it. I was comfortable with it. And ignorance is bliss. You walk on the movie set, like, hey, we're playing football. Go tackle that guy. No, I got it. Go over and tackle him. Simple. What do you do? So luckily, my start was something that was very close to my wheelhouse. The problem is, oh, there's a camera over there. Oh, there's a camera here. You can't run too fast. You have to go here. You're out of frame. You learn all that stuff kind of on the go in your first one. And then when I decided, okay, this is going to be a career. I'm going to be professional at this. I gotta learn how to do fights and car driving and firework and high falls. I got a lot more tools in my toolbox because I can't just do football movies, for a career. It's not going to pay the bills, and I'm not going to be able to walk for long if I do that. So learning that game really establishes, what your expectations are, how you train, how you prepare. So some movies you might go on for like a day. I might get a call tomorrow and say, hey, can you come do this fight scene in this movie? I need a guy your height and weight to get killed real quick. You just show up, you get shot, and you go home. No problem.
That sounds so funny. I need somebody to come into the set to get killed real quick. Go back home, get a check, and you're done. Your kid is like, Dad, I thought you just got killed. You're back home already.
Yeah. And other times you're on the movie set for 9 months at a time. You're breaking down the script. You're training the actors. You're getting behind the scenes, and you're trying to figure out how this character should move. Is he powerful? Is he not powerful? Like in the Marvel stuff, and everybody's got superhero powers, and you kind of figured out that world. I was the bad guy in the first Ant-Man movie, the Yellow Jacket character. So we were deciding how that character would move. Can he fly? Can he just jump high? Does he have guns? Can he grab things with these claws? And every time we would choreograph a fight, it would change. No, we can't do this. No, we can't do that. So it was a lot of more mental preparation and creativity on that side of the business. And you come to that set prepared at a different level because you're now involved in creating the whole movie, and you're hiring other people, and you know what you're doing one day because this fight scene happens today and you have a car wreck happening next week. So you have to be prepared. And so it's another whole level of preparation. Whereas the other ones, sometimes you just show up and, hey, go fall down the stairs and go home. That's a different, you must be coming prepared to be able to do that physically, not get hurt, be on time, know all the ins and outs, know where the camera's going to be, and, just come in and come out, and no one gets hurt, everyone gets paid, everybody wins.
Wow. So let's talk about some of the people that you've also worked with. I know in several areas, of course, you talked about Adam Sandler, Chris Rock, Burt Reynolds. I believe you also work with like Nicki Minaj, some Rihanna, Justin Bieber. What was it like working with some of those not actors, but some of the folks who are in the music industry?
Well, it was 2 different worlds, man. I had no idea. I came into Hollywood just, again, ignorance is bliss, and I got in the movie set, and the movie world kind of dialed in. There's a Screen Actors Guild I was a part of. There's paperwork and all this kind of, and the movie business was a little more Wild Wild West. We would get called in. Hey, I got called in for that one Rihanna Nicki Minaj music video, and they wanted Nicki Minaj to fight these like 5 ninjas. Like, hey, you're a stunt guy. You got your name from somebody, whatever, and I knew a guy who knew a guy. Yeah, I'll do that. No problem. I'm going to need like a day of rehearsal with her. I got to hire these 5 ninjas. What's the set like? Well, she's coming in high heels, walking downstairs. I'm like, that's probably a bad idea to fight ninjas walking downstairs in high heels. Can we not do that? No. You don't have any say in that. In movies, I would. I'm like, well, if Angelina Jolie's gonna walk downstairs. Can we just make fake high heels so it's tennis shoes that look like high heels so it's more safe? We didn't get that in the movie.
Yeah, this is Nicki Minaj. I mean, high heels. Come on, what are you?
Yeah.
You're trying to tell me what you want me to wear now? Come on, you're a stunt guy.
That's right. Yeah. So that was a whole different world. They're like, you have no rehearsal time. You have nothing. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I don't know what you want me to do. I just got done doing the movie Angelina Jolie when I got that phone call for that video. I was like, I'll help you out and do it, but this is like a weekend job for me. I'm going to jump on another movie. So two different worlds, really. Well, there's not a lot of stunts in music. So there's not a whole lot. No one is a stunt guy with ambitions to be in the music industry. So you kind of come and go that here and there. And it was just more like we got paid with an envelope of cash at the end of the night. It was
you talking about for the video?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
Yeah.
Just cash under the table. Probably slide some other stuff that may not be too legal just to take on. So when you talk about actors, being an actor, being a stuntman, is there a level of respect amongst those peers between the two of you guys? Because again, sci-fi, action, those are really, really big budgets, big film. How are you all treated, not just from the business standpoint, but from the actors when you stand alongside these individuals? And then go ahead.
I would say 95% of the time it's a great relationship, and they know we're here to help them. We're not stuntmen for our egos. You take the credit, cut me a check. I'm happy with that. And a lot of times, I've said this before, is we get the unabridged version of them. So even if you're Angelina Jolie or Burt Reynolds or some of the biggest, or Matthew McConaughey or Matt Damon, anybody, I've done a lot with Tom Holland, Spiderman. They got to come into our little gym, our little dojo, leave your entourage at the door, bring your work gloves, bring your boxing gloves. We're coming in to learn how to do this stuff. And I'm here to help you look good. If you don't want to do it, fine, it's your movie. I'm still getting paid. So when they come in to interact with us, there's always a little bit of massage and egos here and there, but most of them are kind of excited to get away from all that and come in with some real people who don't really egos at the door. We're just going to have a good time and train and get better at stuff. And most actors and actresses really just shine in that environment. They're like, oh man, I forgot what it feels like just to have fun and throw a punch or do this kind of stuff, and it builds them up. So we get to know them at that level. And then when we see them on the set or on the premiere and all the lights are on and you see them kind of like, now they're buttoned up a little bit, not all the time, but then they look at us like, oh, hey, Kevin, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Then they kind of button up to this person. So we kind of get a relationship that's more, more clean with them, I guess. That really, really helps our relationship as far as coworkers. Because one thing I regret not taking pictures for a lot of people. But you're out and you're working with them, you're colleagues. Like, hey, we're hanging out today, we're doing this, you're doing a great job. And I'm not going to take a picture of my colleague. We're on the same team. But at the end of it, like, I wish I forgot that guy was super famous. I should have got a picture with him.
It's so funny you would say that. I remember when Obama was president, and we've gone to the White House twice, our family. And I remember when he was giving a speech, the State of the Union. And it's interesting, all these people work with him. But then I was watching him when he was leaving, congressmen, senators, they were taking selfies. Yeah. They were getting autographs because they knew that there was sort of a level of history that's there. And I know in your business, you're in it. My family grew up sort of in the entertainment business as well. And my children have been around it. So quite often, sometimes nothing really impressed them that often. And so again, they forget, I didn't take a picture with that person. I didn't take it, especially my son. He's really not into that, quite often. What I'm also discovering, Kevin, is a lot of actors and actresses are starting to do their own stunts. Do you think that's a good idea for them, or why you think many actors now want to do their own stunts?
Well, action is now almost king, like Marvel movies and action movies. And I mean, that's really moving the box office needle right now. So even they all say they do, none of them really do. Jackie Chan does. Jackie Chan really does. Tom Cruise kind of does. Even if you can, like, Matt Damon can do a lot of his own stunts. Tom Holland, that guy's a freak athlete. He can do all of his own stunts if he wanted to. Tom Cruise really puts a lot of effort. Keanu Reeves, he's a black belt.
I had a feeling you were going to say Keanu Reeves. I had a feeling he was on that list.
He's on. Well, he works with stunt guys. His best friends are stunt guys. Since the Matrix, he's been tied into that movie. The guy who directed, wrote, and produced John Wick series was Keanu Reeves' stunt double in the Matrix. Now he's a director and producer, and awesome martial arts guy. So they say they do because I think they want to act the part outside. But even like Tom Cruise, like hanging on the side of that plane, which he did, he goes for it. He would be a great stunt guy if that's all he did. But the stunt team choreographed that, made it safe, did it 1,000 times. The stunt double was on the side of that plane. Oh, that was too hard for Tom. Well, maybe put the harness here. Just that. Tweak this. I don't think he'll like that. And we dial the stunt in 1,000 times before the actor jumps in there. If it's Tom, if he wants to jump in there, he will. And when he does it, he goes for it. Mm-hmm. Other times, like if it's Tom Holland, he can do it. But if it's something like just jumping over a table or something, he could do that, no problem. His time is better spent working on dialogue and everything else. If he jumps over that table, sprains an ankle, has a limp the next 2 weeks, guess what? We can't film for 2 weeks. He gets a scratch on his eye. Was that worth the effort of Tom jumping over the table? So a lot of producers are like, you're not doing this because if something random happens, we can't shut down production because you got a cut in your eye or you're limping or just let the stunt guy do it. You go practice your lines.
Go run those lines. Yeah.
I mean, the price per second on these movie sets are a lot. So you don't want, but at some level, like Tom does a lot of his own stuff, and then the stunt guys will come in and do it another level, and then Tom Cruise will do some of his own stuff, but then we do it at the real level, and then they kind of pair it all up. So everyone does it to a degree, but not like the practicing. We say if you can do it once, it's an accident. If you can do it 10 times, then it's a stunt. It has to be repeatable. So we make it repeatable, and then we put them in there.
So is there a stunt that you just won't do? And is there a stunt that you were surprised that you did that you just might not have wanted to approach? So is it something you just would not do?
Yeah, you got to stay in your lane in this stunts. Like I work with guys who are Red Bull skydivers, the wingsuit guys, professional rodeo people, Cirque du Soleil athletes, and motocross guys. If I got a call like do a backflip on a motorcycle, I can't do that. Someone else take that job. If I say I can do it, I got to show up next day and do it. And they're going to find out really quick I can't do it, or I'm going to kill myself. That's not good business. So you got to put yourself in a position to succeed. That being said, when you're doubling some people, there'll be a scene. Hey, tomorrow we're doing this. You think you can do it? I'm like, I guess I give it a shot. What is it? There's one movie called The Year One. It's an old comedy with Jack Black, Michael Cera, and it's called The Year One. It's in the year one. It takes place in the year one. And I was doubling the guy. I'm not a horse guy. I didn't grow up riding horses. So I'm not very comfortable in that world. I trained a little bit in stunts to get more comfortable, but if you grew up a rodeo champion, I'm never going to learn how to do that like you can do it. So all these rodeo champions are the horse guys. And I'm just doubling the guy, doing some tackles and sword fighting and athletic stuff. And I was in the back of like a horse-drawn chariot, and there's a guy riding horses in front of me. There's 2 horses running the chariot over sand. 10 horses to my right, 10 horses to my left, 10 horses behind me. And I'm sword fighting a guy on the horse in this back of this chariot, just completely out of my comfort zone. If a horse sneezes, if I fall, I'm getting trampled. I was like, I could do it, but I don't like it. It's my specialty. It's all out of my, everything's on them. These cowboys better ride the horses right. If I fall out, they better jump over me. There's a lot of variables at play that I didn't really feel comfortable with. We did it, we knocked it out, and all the guys are so professional. They had done that 100 times, and it was just so out of my comfort zone. That's when it gets kind of a little crazy.
Are injuries common on the set? And then how are they handled?
Less now than they were like back in the 70s. Like when you're doing Dukes of Hazzard, like, we're jumping this car. All right, figure it out. That guy broke his back. We should probably figure out not to do that next. And people were just getting hurt left and right. Movie producers found out that it was a lot cheaper to let us practice, to learn how to do it safe, than pay our medical bills. Because it's all workers' comp kind of claims and everything. So they pay all
it is. Yeah. It is workers' comp, but like in a traditional.
Yes. Yeah, so that jacks up their insurance. So they keep getting people hurt. They'd rather just give us a week to practice it so we don't get hurt. And now with technology and being able to edit and digital editing, if you have to like jump out on fire of a 20-story building, you could do it in like 2 stories, land in the pad, and then do a big wider one, land in a bigger pad. You can cut it up and edit it easier. So it's a lot safer now. But people, you're still falling downstairs, still getting hit by cars. The thumps are still the thumps. I mean, you can't fake hitting the ground like that. But with the amount of content now, I mean, there's still, people get killed every year. Friends of mine have died and been paralyzed, and there's 100,000 movies being made now. Where in the '70s there was 8. So there were more balls to the wall in the '70s, but now there's just so much being filmed with all the streaming channels that we used to say it's not if but when. You keep doing this, something, even the simple things, anything can go wrong. The ground is still the ground. The gravity always wins.
Yeah. Well, I'm loving to hear you talk about all the success that you have in the industry, from working with Nicki Minaj, Angela Jolie, and Rihanna, Britney Spears, Chris Rock. But prior to that, Kevin, as a young person, you went through many, many challenges. You talk about in the book, and I'm going to dive into that in some of the interviews I saw about your personal challenges, being bullied. You look different from most people. You sound different from most of the people in those circles. But then all of a sudden, you somehow overcame those obstacles to become this world-renowned stuntman. Let's go back and talk about Kevin's early years, and how have those situations helped you to become the person that you are right now?
Yeah, that's kind of the focal point of the book of things I went through. I was born in New York. My mom's Queens, my dad's Brooklyn. They moved to Long Island right before they had me. I was there until I was 10. I moved from Charlotte, North Carolina from New York to Charlotte when I was 10. So I had a heavy Long Island, New York accent. I didn't have any teeth. I didn't have a nose. My facial deformity when I was born, I had a bubble from my nose to the bridge of my mouth here, so all the way back. I had a bunch of surgeries, and that was one of them. Just culturally, going from New York to North Carolina in 1987, where it wasn't. I brought a bagel to lunch, and people thought it was a funny tasting donut. They didn't know what bagels were. But, now there's a bunch of New Yorkers here in Charlotte. Because the bankings moved here and everything. So those kind of things. I remember one story. The teacher said, "Cut the lights off." I was looking for. You cut the lights off here? I don't understand what that means. Like in New York, no one said that. There's a lot of different kind of things. That, and obviously the bullying and the teasing and all that kind of stuff. And for whatever reason, in nature and nurture, I talk about in the book. I always had a facial deformity. I always had a speech impediment. I knew nothing before that. So it wasn't like something it was always something I fought. So it's never something I fought, just something that was always with me. And it wasn't something I could hide from. Like if you had like a bad family life or a learning disability, or you can kind of like maybe brush it under the rug or get around it, or it was literally on my face. And every time I talked, so I had to, figure out how to either live in a hole or not take it too seriously. So, in those adolescent years, you learn, even without the birth defect and speech impediment, you learn the lines are. People are teasing people. Boys are asking out girls, and not too funny, am I annoying? Everyone's figuring out where those lines are. For me, it's just another one of the line to figure out. Oh, they're teasing me, whatever. That was kind of funny, no big deal. Then, that was too far. Now we're fighting. Like it was kind of like everyone was learning those lines. Even in junior high, I went to a pretty rough. There was gang fighting in 7th grade. It was a pretty rough junior high I went to in Charlotte, and my nickname was Rat Boy. I only had 2 teeth in front and no nose, and at the end of my junior high year, it was just people didn't even know my real name. They go, Rat Boy, hey, what's up? It wasn't internalized. That was super negative. Even some of the people that called it to me years later, like, oh, I didn't even think about that. My bad. Learned to laugh. It was definitely finding the line. Learn to laugh about yourself, but knowing when to draw the line in the sand, but that's too far. I was lucky to be forced to figure that out at an early age. I had that kind of social dynamic, that internal strength of who I am kind of solidified way earlier than a lot of other people.
So my question, I appreciate what you said, because I know the challenge, it takes courage. And I always talk about the word courage, or core is a Latin word for heart. In Spanish, it's corazón. So it takes a lot of heart to say that. It takes some courage to talk about personal and childhood problems all over, from traumas to experience demons that we battle with and mental health blocks. How do you do it? How are you able to talk about those things without just losing it?
I I think I never internalized it. I never put a whole lot of value in it. Every time I would learn how to talk, like I had a surgery, a year later, I had to have another surgery, learn how to talk again. I was never one thing long enough that it got to be who I was. I was kind of bullied, then I was popular, then I was a baseball player, and I was an athlete, and I wasn't. And so I transitioned so much in life that I didn't place a whole lot of value on that. And I was lucky. Again, nature, nurture, who knows? You're born with it. You kind of are forced to deal with it at a young age. And like, well, here's how I am. Here's what it is. So take it or leave it. Either use it to build yourself up, or I mean, obviously there's highs and lows. I had some physical gifts athletically, and that was, I call it a crutch. You can use what you are. I call what's what you do for a living. You're a baseball player, football player, a bully kid. Anything external is a what. Anything internal is a who. You can use who's mean like character. I was always like, I'm gonna be a good friend. I had some kind of loyalty problem in me that I was always just a good friend, a good teammate, and I would always stand up for what I thought was right, even too far sometimes. But never internalized any of those what's of like being a bully kid. That ended by the time I got to college. I wasn't a bully kid anymore. And if that's who I identified as, I would now who are you? So using that as in physical outlets, that's a crutch. Like I would lean on being a baseball player, football player to get me through some hard times of being bullied and not feeling good and crying and girls not liking me and all that kind of stuff. I'd go out and tackle some people in football. I use that as a crutch. But like a crutch and a broken leg, you got to be able to throw that crutch away. Now leg heals and keep walking. You don't want to own that crutch. That crutch doesn't come with you forever. So being able to use some outlets as crutches, but not as your identity, I think is something I didn't realize I did. But looking back at all the stories, writing the book, I'm like, oh, it's kind of what I established at a young age. And it kind of repeats itself and all the trauma and crazy stuff I went through throughout life that has helped me, flourish and stay positive, be a good friend, be a likable person, and have opportunities,
So
present themselves.
what I'm hearing you say, Kevin, is I'm hearing you're talking about avoiding victimization. And I think in this time that we're living in, our young people in particular, and also adults, I think we put a lot on young people, but folks have this victim mentality. It sounds like from what I read and from what I'm hearing right now from the interviews, that you refuse to be a victim. What message do you have for our listeners that are out there who are stuck in victim mode, who are blaming everything that's happened to them? It could be my skin is too dark. It could be my mom is not around. It could be I'm homeless. It could be I'm an LGBTQ plus person. It could be, because I'm not smart enough. But what I'm hearing little Kevin and now big Kevin say that I refuse to be a victim. What message do you have for those people who are stuck in victim mode?
First of all, I think it was easier for me to refuse to be a victim because it wasn't an option. My parents never treated me like a victim. Even to this day, my mom doesn't love the book. She doesn't come out. I call her lovably oblivious. She goes, I never knew you were being bullied. My mom, I came home with black eyes. I couldn't talk. How you not know me? Anyway, but so my parents never, pros and cons of no one treating me like a victim. There was no football coach like, get up, figure it out. I don't care, and there was no currency in it back then. Like if I said I was a victim, people were like, there's no energy put towards it. I think what I do, I have 3 daughters. I have a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old. And no matter what path they go down when they're younger, adolescents until they're 18, or every kid and adult's different than when they mature and everything. But I'm not giving energy to it. Like, hey, I'm this. Cool, man. Hope for the best. Are you nice? Are you kind? Do you have good character? You have good friends? Are you a good person? Cool. Then be goth or do whatever you want to be. Cool. I'm not giving energy to that. I'm not giving you currency in that. It's you figuring out who you are, and whether that's taking even that's a popular kid, an unpopular kid, a bully kid, anything you can talk to, anything. I think it's easier to now do that because there is currency involved in it. You're getting attention, social media points. If that was there when I was around, it would have been harder for me to do it. I don't know if I could have. You get so much so much energy around it. It's hard not to, oh man, I'm a confused kid and maybe I'm a football player, maybe I'm not. Maybe I'll go this. Oh, people love me for this. Cool, that's who I am. And then when I was growing up, and you're probably similar age, there was no internet. So even when I got bullied and beat up at school, by the time I got home, it was over. and maybe a day or two goes by before it comes back. But now it's never going to end. If I'm checking Facebook and Instagram, the bullying continues and it just rides waves. And man, it's a way harder world to navigate now than before.
I'm assuming that you want to start working in the school districts with your message because young people are being bullied all over the country. I actually was a part of an anti-bullying tour. Kevin, in Connecticut, literally wore me out. Every day I would come back to the hotel, pray, meditate. I would put up a couple of social media posts, and people were concerned about me because I was physically and emotionally drained from taking on all the pain of the young people that were sharing these stories, having these cathartic moments, and also not just the young people, but the teachers and the social workers. So I know you are now going to start going into the school system. Talk to us about what your plans are.
Is I'm building a curriculum around the messages in the book for different age, high school, middle school, elementary school even. And I'm working on the children's book right now. And I'm attacking bullying, and it's going to be exhausting, like you said, and you got to take it on the chin. And I want to build up the whole support network, the teachers, the administrators, the parents, everyone getting the same team. And everyone's always attacked bullying for don't be a bully, and that's fine. World peace, great. I got it. It's hard to conceptualize. So I want to make kids bully proof, not bulletproof, bully proof. I was never an easy target to be bullied. I got bullied a lot. I got teased a lot, but it kind of had ups and downs. I never internalized it. I would fight back, and things I've learned could have made me better at dealing with bullies. Having internal strength, internal fortitude to make each individual bully proof. If you build a community of bully proof kids, guess what? There will be no bullies. And no one pick on. And then you build that community with the teachers, administrators, and everyone to build up all the kids, all the insecurities, all the stuff in a very safe environment. Share. And a lot of times when I was getting bullied, I had empathy for the kids who were bullying me. That kid's kind of a broken kid, man. It's not his fault. He's going through some stuff. I was even able to see that while it was happening to me. So having other kids who are maybe being bullied say, listen, that kid's dealing with his own things as well. Everyone's fighting a battle you know nothing about. I'm building everyone up from the other side of the bullying to make yourself bully proof, I think, is the way I'm attacking the bullying problem. And I'm writing a kids book with it and building curriculum around it, using my story and who versus what and all that stuff to really preach that to not just the students, but the teachers, administrators, everybody, because you'll be a better support system if you are more in tune with who you are. A lot of teachers are 25-year-old kids out of college. They don't know how to deal with all these social interactions that we see in schools. I mean, they need to be built up too and have a better foundation and a more a bright, shining star of who they are to help facilitate the kids around them. So,
it doesn't just stop at the school level. I mean, we know it goes into homes of adults. It goes into office spaces. It goes into the football field, soccer field, tennis court, all the sports. When I wrote my book, Hands Off, with my partner at the time, Sarah Hassan, we were actually speaking at a conference and we did this activity, and she shared when she was at Johns Hopkins, she was being bullied by staff members. It could have been because of race. It could have been because of gender. It could have been because of age, but she internalized that, and it took her back to being an immigrant, coming into this country at a very young age. And those triggers are really, really big. And so again, as you talk about being bullied as a young person, that thing carries over unless you deal with it. And those folks are somewhat more empathetic. Like working with Sarah, she was more empathetic when we would go to those schools and engage young people. She felt what they were feeling because she also shared, even where I am at my level, working at this hospital, this well-known, you're in Baltimore, you were in Baltimore, well-known around the country, around the globe, but she still felt like she was being bullied there. So I wish you much success on that. It is so needed. I wrote in my book, there's a chapter that I talked about, the bullying tour that I did, the anti-bullying tour rather, and it just wore me out. So much success on that, man.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm loving the book, Kevin, Falling Down to Find Myself. What is your message for readers who pick up a copy of this book?
There's so many, but one is there's always transitions. You're going to go through a transition, whether it's high school to college or school to work or having kids, or having, now my transition will be my parents are getting older and my kids are getting older, dealing with teenage girls. You're always going to go through a transition. Life's always going to change. So build up your core tenets to go through that change as smoothly and as confidently. I'll let it say humble confidence, which I'm trying to teach. Confidence without humility is just ego, and nobody likes personal ego. So find that humble confidence in who you are to be able to transition through all your lives, and then also be the best version of yourself for other people. You'll be a better father. You'll be a better teacher. You'll be a better employee, employer. You shine brighter when you're not worried about all the external crap.
Well, man, it has been a pleasure hanging out with you. I love the book. But you cannot leave right now. The second part of the show is called the Super Bomb Questions, and it's different from the first part. First part, we discussed the questions. This time, I'm going to throw out a question to you, and I need you to respond as quickly as possible. Kevin Cassidy, are you ready?
All right, let's go.
Here we go. Kevin, what is your favorite word?
Humility.
What's your superpower?
Honesty, vulnerability.
What's your spirit animal?
Velociraptor.
What moves you to tears of joy?
Other people's success.
What moves you to tears of sorrow?
Missed opportunities, regret.
What do you wish you had more time to do?
Everything. Father, career, helping people.
What is the book or books you've given most as a gift, and why?
Stoic books, discourses, Epictetus, meditations on Marcus Aurelius. So that kind of trying to bring back stoicism stuff, and things like Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, philosophical kind of allegory books. I think are a lot of people need that base. What's
your morning routine?
Trying to kill my kids.
After the kids.
I get them all up to school, do all that. Then I have my 9 to about 10. I do some me time. I do a workout. I do some journaling, do some writing, refocus, look at my calendar, and kill the day.
What advice are you glad you ignored?
You can't do it.
What's your favorite sound?
I was a baseball guy, so a nice crisp, home run off the wooden bat.
How can my listeners get in contact with you if they want to purchase a copy of the book, and if they want to find out some of the amazing things that you're doing?
The book is on Amazon, anywhere books are sold. It's called Falling Down to Find Myself. And I have a website, kevincast.com, KEVINCASS.com. My speaking engagements, some of my curriculum. I have a little Substack. I'm starting to write weekly. Podcasts like this are all on there. You can email me. It goes right to me. From there, you can contact me. So the best part is that website. All
right, man. Thanks a lot. Well, man, Kevin Cassidy, the author of Falling Down to Find Myself. Stuntman, I appreciate you hanging out with me, brother. It has been an honor and pleasure. I wish you much success in all the things that you're doing.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time. And I'll come see you in Baltimore next time I go see my friends up there.
Hey, let me know. I'm going to hold you to that. I just want to thank all my listeners. Could not do it without you. Could not do it without my theme music supremacy, and all of you for listening. Listen, make sure you subscribe, leave a comment, and stop being stingy, and share me with all of your friends. We are on every social media platform. Subscribe to the show, like us everywhere. And as always, believe that something wonderful is about to happen, but some people miss the message because they're too busy looking for the mess. But not you. You've been listening to Sound Bombing. Peace.